The gentleman from Colorado is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Ranking Member, for yielding me the time. Only in Washington, D.C. can politicians who vote to give tax breaks to the biggest oil companies and fossil fuel companies on planet Earth come down to the floor of the House and argue that their legislative efforts are going to lower electricity prices. Only in Washington, D.C. can politicians who stand by as energy projects in their own districts are decimated by their inaction and then claim that they're championing efforts to improve reliability of the grid. My colleague from Colorado made a lot of references to local utility efforts in our home state. What he failed to mention in his quest to improve reliability of the grid is that several projects in his own district were eliminated by the Trump administration just 5 weeks ago. And my colleague from Colorado, like virtually every single member of the Republican caucus, did nothing to stop it. Nothing. And by the way, we're not talking about small projects. This is the headline. Colorado company may close after Trump administration cuts funding for nearly 36 energy projects in the state. I'll quote this article, Madam Speaker. In all, DOE eliminated $7.6 billion in projects in 16 states, all of which are led by Democrats. But, here's the kicker, but some of the projects are in Republican congressional districts, including a $27 million grant in Colorado's 8th congressional district, which Representative Gabe Evans, the author of this legislation we're debating today, a Republican, represents. I'll quote another article. This is the local utility, Madam Speaker, in Fort Lupton, which I believe is the sponsor of this legislation's hometown. I'll just quote, the Fort Lupton microgrid project was submitted with the goal of increasing the reliability of the city's municipal water treatment plant. Another project, $6.1 million, Madam Speaker, that was unceremoniously cut a month ago by President Trump. If we want to get serious about the reliability of the grid, if we want to address the ballooning electricity costs that are a direct byproduct of the bill that Republicans passed earlier this summer, a good way to start would be to tell the Department of Energy to stop eliminating energy projects in Brighton and in Fort Lupton and in Fort Collins, in Longmont, the communities that I represent, the communities that my colleague from Colorado represents. And by the way, Madam Speaker, just so that we're clear, this bill does absolutely nothing to impose. I'd ask Mr. Chairman if I might add another 60 seconds to my time.
I yield the gentleman another minute, Madam Speaker.
The gentleman's recognized for one more minute.
I thank the Madam Speaker, and I thank the chairman, or the ranking member, I should say, future chairman, for his indulgence. This bill does absolutely nothing as a practical matter. It does not impose, and I welcome the Chairman Guthrie's response on this front. It does nothing to impose new standards. It does nothing to compel state public utility commissions to adopt new standards. It does nothing to require these commissions to implement new standards. It simply says that commissions must consider them. This is basically a press release. That's what this bill is. We could have spared everyone the time and just get on with it so that we can actually get to the substance of addressing the inflation cost crisis that Republicans have unleashed on Coloradans and on Americans writ large. But no, we're here to debate this very carefully constructed press release that ultimately will accomplish nothing if it's ever signed into law. I'm voting no. I urge my colleagues to do the same. I thank the chairman for the time.
The gentleman from New Jersey reserves. The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Let's do reserve.
The gentleman from Kentucky reserves.
I'm prepared to close. I have no other speakers.